So, as you're all aware, we're currently waiting on assays from over 900 rock chip samples, as well as from the 9-hole drill program that we completed near the end of last year. So while we're waiting on those results, I thought this would be a good time to talk a little bit about the history of the project and why we came to acquire it just a little over a year ago. So for people who are new to the story and might not be familiar with Hercules, it's actually quite far from a grassroots asset. It's had an extensive amount of historical drilling that's been done from the 1960s right through to the 1980s. So we're talking about 28,000 meters of drilling in over 300 drill holes spanning roughly 3.5 kilometers of strike. Now, what's important to note is that the majority of that drilling was actually mostly done within the Hercules Adit and the Frog Pond zones, where they were geared towards developing a very shallow resource basically as quickly as possible, because the business model at the time was focused on getting relatively small scale mine into production quickly as possible, and from there they could just continue to build out the resource through drilling. So what's important is that none of the drilling that they did actually closed off the mineralization. So everything still remains open along strike and at depth at Hercules Adit, at Frog Pond, and everywhere else on the property. So basically, after they completed their drilling, they moved towards a feasibility study, which they completed in 1984, and this was right as the price of silver was collapsing. So instead of continuing to expand on the resource and more drilling, they decided to place the project on care and maintenance and wait and hope that the silver price would eventually come back. Unfortunately for them, silver ended up staying in a pretty long bear market, lasted right through to about the mid-2000s, and eventually the project ended up falling into an estate. So it was inherited by an individual who's not a mining person, and he doesn't have any mining connections, and pretty much the project ends up being forgotten at this stage. So now fast forward to 2021, the project is introduced to our group, and we're able to negotiate a deal with this vendor and purchased a 100% interest in the project. So we got the deal done. We spent months and months digitizing all of the historical drilling data, and we put together our own full 3D model that showcases all the mineralization that's already been defined at the Hercules Adit and at the Frog Pond. So the difference now is that unlike the historical operators who were geared towards that relatively small scale production, we're stepping back and we're looking at the big picture here, which is a multi-kilometer silver lead zinc system that's connected to a pretty large copper porphyry target that's completely untested. And we have lots of assays that are currently pending, and we expect that these are going to showcase a really big picture system here, which is roughly 3 kilometers by 3 kilometers in size. And we also have assays pending for another 9 drill holes, all of which were within the historical resource area, which remains open in all directions. So our goal is to upgrade that historical resource to 43101 compliant, and from there, we're going to continue to expand it in all directions. And of course, take all this new surface data, all the surface geochem, all the mapping, all the IP geophysics that we've done, and we're going to continue to test new targets over this big 3 kilometer by 3 kilometer area. So please visit our website at herculessilver.com and sign up for our email list to continue to get updates on the project.